Welcome back to the channel and welcome to southern Spain, to be exact, Marbella. Please don't judge me for that. And we've just rented a bike from Jack. As you can see, they've got a fantastic selection of all the usual things you can get while you're on holiday, but for me, I've gone for a bit of a holiday romance. I'm going to be honest, I think I've bitten off a bit more than I can chew here. In fact, I really wanted the 660, not the 1100. So I know I'm punching well above my weight here, but it was too good an opportunity to turn down. I think these are probably one of the most beautiful pieces of motorcycle engineering you can possibly buy, and to be able to rent it for the weekend is really something I didn't think I'd be able to do. So, as they say on YouTube, without further ado, let's get on the road. So I might look a little bit sheepish because I'm right outside the shop and there's no way I wanted to stall it in front of an audience, so nice and steady, and then I left at this set of lights here around the roundabout. Now the reason I was nervous about the bike was because you know from previous videos that I've got the RD, the Z650 and the Harley Sportster, and this Aprilia puts out more power than all of those bikes combined. But I have to say, it only does it when you ask it to do it. And these first few kilometres driving through the centre of Marbella in a little bit of light traffic was ever so easy. I was just getting used to the quick shifter. Now I'm not really sure whether you're supposed to use these around town at low speeds. I found it fine going up through the gearbox, but coming down, you know, old habits like blipping the throttle, obviously you're not supposed to do that, so they made a few complaints, so I stopped really using it on the downshift in town. But once we got out onto the open road, it was absolutely magnificent. In fact, it saved my wrist a little bit because I felt the position of the bike was a little bit too sporty, even though that this is the super naked. The frame and the foot pegs are the same as on the sport bike. It's just the handlebars that are different, and for me, I think I would go for a slightly higher handlebar. I think the non-factory Tuono has a slightly higher handlebar, so I think I would go for that. The other reason I'd go for that is that I did get quite the pain in, what can we call it, the family jewels. Now, whether or not that was the Marks and Spencer's boxer shorts and the baggy Alpine Stars jeans I like to wear, I don't know, but I did get a bit wedged up down there a few times, especially when you see the Rideout tomorrow, when there's a lot of downhill through the mountains, quite a lot of braking. The weight of my body was shifting around quite a bit. Absolutely no criticism of the bike whatsoever. It is as good as it looks. That engine is smooth, it's docile, a quarter throttle, 8th throttle. It's just lovely. I rode it nearly all the time in tour mode, which is the slightly sort of smoother, less aggressive mode. There are a whole load of individual modes that you can fine-tune the amount of ABS and wheelie control that you want, particularly, you know, if you want to take the bike on track. I did have it in sport mode for a little while, and that really does sharpen up the quick shifter and the throttle response. The brakes are absolutely fantastic, and they need to be as well, because you open up the throttle on this bike and you are at the horizon a hell of a lot quicker than you thought you were going to get there. So that's the end of Saturday's ride. Just heading back now to the rental apartment, put the bike away and decide what I want to do tomorrow. It would be ideal if I could find a little group to ride with, so I'll have a look online and see if I can find someone. In a map of roughly where I'd been today, it was just a there and back kind of route. Sunday morning comes around and I want to go for a ride, but I don't want to be Billy No Mate, so a quick look on Facebook and this pops up. It was a Rideout So I emailed Trond, and he replies straight away and says, yeah, come along. So here we are at the meet point in Mijas by the lighthouse, and it's just an ad hoc group of guys, Dutch, Norwegian, Danish, English, and they just love to ride, and it's an informal ride out every Sunday morning. Now Trond, as you can tell by his adventure bike, he's quite the experienced guy, and he took us on roughly this route. We're about 200 kilometres. Now he is a guide, a marshal, and he works on things like the Tour de France. That's his day job, and he lives down here in his downtime. So all got together and headed out onto the notorious A7. That's a strip of dual carriageway that runs right away along this coast. If you look to the left, that's all built up in apartments, and it's just a couple of hundred yards down to the beach, and on the right are slightly sort of houses, and then it goes up into the mountains. So everybody, shops, offices, apartments, houses, all feed down onto this A7, and as you can see by this petrol station, the on and off ramps are short and not a little dangerous. So we're through the other side of Marbella, past Portobello's, and then turned right up into the mountains. A little confession to make here, it was my first time using the Insta, and I allowed the data card to fill up, so I've had to do a little bit of creative editing to put this little section together, so apologies if it jumps around a bit. So we first stopped off at this biker cafe halfway up the mountain, incredibly popular with bikers, as is this route, and the moment we joined it, we were greeted by the police, who are in force normally, and plenty of warning signs about speed cameras and speed monitoring by drone. John was telling me that the police are taking biking very seriously these days, and there's a lot of pressure on bikers. Indeed, there's new legislation coming out to say that you have to wear an airbag vest from later on this year. Anyway, as we climbed higher, it got colder. I only had a t-shirt on under my jacket, being a typical tourist. It did get a bit nippy, about 8 degrees, and we did have a little bit of light rain from time to time, which really tested the traction on some of the bigger Harleys that we were with. We also went on some quite narrow roads, particularly as we went down into the Smurf Village that you'll see shortly. We've now arrived in the village of Hunthar. As you can see, it's blue because this is where in 2011 they recorded the Smurf movie. They've kept the village blue ever since, and it's quite a tourist attraction. You can see from this picture that the cloud cover is coming down, so we decided that we'd make a run for it and head back down to the coast. End of ride B, now back at Casa 22 in Mijas. Great day out, great bunch of guys, really look forward to seeing them again. Not looking forward to having to take the bike back in the rain. So a last look round in the garage and in the dry. This is a stunning bike and it is lovely to ride. It fills you with confidence, it does flatter you, and it does surprise you when you open the throttle. Would I buy one? Yeah, I would in a heartbeat. A couple of minor modifications like having the handlebars set a little higher, but other than that I have it absolutely standard. Maybe an exhaust. Yeah, you've got to listen to that engine. Well, I had the opportunity to drive it in the wet as well because it's Monday morning. Had to bring the bike back sadly. I actually managed to miss the majority of the rain, but as you can see, heavy traffic, very damp conditions. Bike performed flawlessly. I was acutely aware that I didn't want to damage something as pretty as this, and a €1,500 deposit also tends to focus the mind. So we're back at Moto Mardo, and unfortunately he's so popular all of his bikes are out. So this is what he's got available, or obviously you can check their website, there'll be a link in the description below. You can rent absolutely everything: helmet, gloves, leathers, boots, trousers, if you're travelling light. And their fully equipped workshop down here can get you on the road if you have a breakdown or any other problems while you're out on the road. You want to speak to Jack, he will sort you out a bike, no problem at all. Super guy, really enthusiastic. It's not about the business for him, it's about biking. He came in on a Saturday on his day off to sort the bike out for me and two other young lads that were here with their dad and wanted to do a bit of adventure riding. So I can't rate them highly enough. No sponsorship either, didn't even get a discount. For those of you that like the adventure bike, there's plenty of those for hire as well. So the cost of the bike was €150 a day, which came to £252 for the weekend. That included insurance, breakdown cover, and I also had a helmet. You can rent, I think, for a peppercorn fee, boots, gloves, jacket and trousers. The service I got from Jack and the team there was absolutely first class, and I can't recommend them highly enough if you're coming out here biking. Now, can I ask you please to like, share and subscribe? Would I have done this if I didn't have a YouTube channel? Probably not, but it was a good excuse to rent a dream bike. Thanks for watching.